What's up guys, and welcome to my video. This is just a little extra thing because there's been in the news yesterday that there's been a patent by Sony that's been discovered that will allow discs to have a little NFC chip in it. And when this chip bonds with your PlayStation, so your PS4, your Orbis, then it'll be tied to the console and no one else will be able to use it. So what this will mean, I imagine, obviously no one really knows, but what this will mean that, say, you go and buy a game down in the store, you put it in, do you want to unlock it? Yes, it's tied to your console. If you've got an internet connection, I imagine it will then tie to your name, and then you'd be able to use that in any of the other consoles that you have, or if you go around to friends it will probably work as long as they've got an internet connection. Because the difficult thing is, if you use like a key like you get with online through the PC, then it ties it through the internet, but not everyone that has a console has internet. I know it's about 90% of people, but you'll be surprised there's a lot of people that don't actually have internet on their console. So what does this mean? This means that you won't be able to trade a game in, or, well, that's the likely thing, but it might also mean that you have like a certain amount of activations, but it's essentially killing off used games. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset about this, but I actually think it's a good thing. Now, I'll tell you why it's a good thing. It's just because when you buy a game, who would you rather that gets the money? Would you rather the money goes to Blockbuster or GameStop, or would you rather it goes to the developers? So like you hear about THQ's gone out of business, or the makers of Kingdoms of Amalur have gone out of business. And why do you think that is? Do used games have a part in that? They probably do. I mean, if you look at Kingdoms of Amalur, that didn't have an online pass or anything. There wasn't any online features of it. So I think it's safe to say about 1/3 or a quarter of game sales, they didn't actually get any money for it. And this is a problem, and it could be fixed. Obviously Xbox will need to do something similar, but I can almost guarantee that both companies will do the same thing. I'm sure they probably won't have some deal behind, you know, closed doors, but I think it's safe to assume that if you're going to spend millions of pounds on a console, you've got to be safe to assume that both are going to have a similar sort of DRM on it. But let's look at the facts for a second. Console games are £40 RRP when they come out. Most PC games, unless you're Origin, are £30 as well, with a few exceptions. Now, I've vowed to myself that I will never actually spend £40 on a PC game, because as soon as we start doing that, they're all going to do that. Why would you? If you could, you know, if you Call of Duty and you can get away with selling it for £40, why wouldn't you? So I'm vowed never to do that. But why are PC games £10 cheaper than console games? Now, there are several reasons for this, but one of the reasons I think is because people either don't have as much money, they're not willing to spend as much money, but that could have something to do with the fact that you can't trade them in. Obviously there are a few exceptions, like Green Man Gaming, and there's some Steam rental service, I don't use that. But if you buy a game, then if you know you're not going to be able to trade it in later, you're not going to want to spend as much on it. So if this works in Steam, because, you know, I've got a massive library, absolutely massive library, all of these games, and I'm never going to be able to trade them in. Does that bother me in the slightest? Absolutely not. I got them really cheap, as do most people on Steam. And so it doesn't matter, even if you don't play them. Most of the games I haven't played, it really isn't going to matter if I can trade them in. So I think people need to not worry about this. It is more than likely that this system won't be used because it is only a patent, but I think it will be a good thing, because then sure, you know, Blockbuster and companies like that might suffer, but they can either change, they have to change, they still can sell new games, but they've got to change, but they're on their way out anyway. If you look at, obviously, PC, no one really buys a hardware copy, it's too expensive for them to sell, so something similar is going to happen on console soon. But not to worry, because the good things are going to come of it. Games could become cheaper. If you're not going to be trading them in, less games are going to probably be sold, because a lot of people that buy games don't have that much money. You know, a lot of them don't even have jobs because they're, you know, small people. Well, not that small, no offence. so game prices could go down. And the other thing is that your money is actually going to go to the people who it should be going to, which are the developers. What's your opinion on this? Obviously, I know a lot of you want used games forever, but unfortunately, even if this doesn't happen, used games are not going to be around forever. If the Steam system can work on the PC, there's no reason at all why it can't work on the consoles. Most games, I imagine, will be sold digitally from now on. People getting better internet connections, and as long as they don't have the stupid pricing that they do now, and say, you know, you can buy a game, Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect 4 comes out, let's say it's priced at $39.99, digital copy should be priced at $39.99, and then everyone will be happy. So I wouldn't worry about it, and just what it's going to go forward, the system's going to move forward, you can't change that, but they're not stupid, they're going to do consumer friendly stuff even if it's kind of, you don't think it's going to, because if developers make more money then they can make more games, and better games have larger staff and so on. You're going to get better quality again. What's your opinion on this? As I said, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you next time.